I applaud this younger generation. They're a little more comfortable with, saying who they are, being who they are, and the world supports it better than my generation. I'll be honest with you, media was not supportive of a man talking about going to get therapy, for example, or that he was not into sports or womanizing or something along those lines. And, we've come a long way, but there are households that are still locked in that this young man grew up this way in this neighborhood and this is how he's got to be. And you're giving him a horrible disservice because
Welcome to D50 After Dark. I'm your host, Mickey Bennett, and today we'll be having one more conversation with professional speaker Victor Johnson, and we're going to talk about how he gives back to his community, specifically to young people. Stay tuned for this conversation. Welcome back to the show, Victor. I've had such a great time talking to you about Toastmasters, professional speaking, your career as a speaker. It's been very interesting. To wrap things up, I want to talk to you about how you have been giving back to the community.
yes.
Now, you told me you have been involved with a couple different programs for young people. Tell me about your work that you did for Dallas College.
Yes. So in 2018, I released a book called Proven Pathways to Wealth and Happiness. And it's just a mindset book, how I overcame some financial challenges and ultimately became a real estate investor. And when that book was released, I started marketing to anybody that would ask me to come in and speak. And Dallas College was my very first booking as a speaker, a paid speaker. And in 2019, they asked me to come in and be part of their male achievement program. They call it MAP. And this is a group for men of color that are in the junior college space. And basically, they asked me at that time to come in and just teach them about traits of being a great leader. What will be some keys that I could help them with as they're moving into their post-secondary careers, some of them going off to military, others starting businesses, others going into corporate. And with the Dallas College opportunities, that just was like quarterly. They would bring me in, I would go to a different campus. Richland College, I started out in a few different other campuses that just asked me to come out. And so that was a great opportunity for me to give back to young men that look like me and teach them not only about careers and leadership, but we would go in on financial literacy and how to speak in public, how to present yourself, how to look the part, how to shake hands and look people in their eyes. And I think they enjoyed that I was able to kind of be relatable with these young men and share some of my background with them and how I was able to move into a pretty successful career. And so that was my Dallas College life. And I still go back probably once a year now to be part of the MAP team or the Male Achievement Program. It's really one of the gratifying things that I get a chance to do.
So you said a lot there. Male Achievement Program is the program, and
Yes.
it's available for students in the Dallas College school.
Systems, yes.
And what is it? It's like, do they join in this program for the duration of their time at Dallas College, or is it just like a couple events they do, or how
Good
does it work?
question. I think it's more so for the sophomores and the freshmen that are coming in,
Hmm.
transitioning into this new level of maturity. And then as you go to your junior year, many of them become mentors for the sophomores and the freshmen that come in. I don't think everybody stays till the end. I think many of them come out after that second year, and then some of them will just stick around and become mentors. But I'm not 100% sure that they've made some great strides and they have evolved this group quite a bit since 2019. They are now taking tours. They visit, state offices down in Austin. They go to other colleges. They visit careers and they do quite a bit to help build character for these young men and expose them to opportunities that they may not have even thought about on their own.
Now, you mentioned one of the things you teach them, or when you were involved in this program, you would teach them is public speaking skills.
Yes.
When these young men find themselves in college, do they already have public speaking skills, or are they lost?
Regretfully, in the times that we live in now, we're getting young people that don't always communicate effectively with other humans. They're
Mhm.
great with technology, they're
Yeah.
great with their phones, great on social media, but when you walk into a room and need to have a conversation with them, oftentimes they struggle with that. And I've done those trainings at corporate offices where there's a lot of young professionals in their 20s, early 30s, and they just haven't had as much experience with speaking with other human beings. One thing that I've learned with technology is with our phones, everything's predictable. You put something in, you know the outcome that's going to pretty much result from that. But sitting here, you really don't know what I'm going to say when you make a statement. And that's what human beings are about. And with these young people, I'm able to help them to learn how to have conversations with people from different walks of life that have a different background with them, and they still can find that commonality. And so it's really, again, gratifying work because I can take some of the grades that I've earned and pour back into these young folks and help them hopefully avoid some of the pitfalls that I had. I wasn't even a great communicator early on, and I didn't even have nearly as much technology as they have. So I think it's something that we, as the older generation, we have to go back and help these young folks to, because otherwise they're brilliant. They know all of this great stuff, but to be able to communicate is one of the keys in life that you'll need with you for the rest of your days.
Yeah, your analogy about the predictability of what we get back from technology versus the unpredictability of human interactions, it kind of goes back to something you had said in a previous conversation about vulnerability
Mm.
and how important that is. And I think it takes a certain amount of it's maybe a contradiction, but vulnerability to be able to interact with people and have a confidence in your interactions.
Yeah, when you're behind a computer or on a phone talking to the world, again, you get the chance to present who you want to present, the image that you want to present. You can even throw some filters in that thing, make it look even better. But when I walk into a room with, a zit on my face or a cut or something, I'm exposing myself and my weakness to the other person. And 90% of the time, they don't care. But we don't know that. And we feel like, oh my God, they're going to see how I dress. They're going to see how I move. Maybe they'll see that, I don't have perfect teeth or whatever. And yes, there's a level of vulnerability in human connection that just makes us feel better because we're all experiencing some kind of vulnerability. And so when we can teach these young people how to still be confident and talk with those vulnerabilities, I think we're doing a great service to the world.
Now, something that stands out about this program is it's the male achievement program,
Yes.
right? Not the young people achievement program or some, less wordy alternative. Are there certain like needs and challenges that young men have these days that you need to address via this program?
Yes, so I know the guys who put this group together, Professor Gabe Randall and Tim McDuffie. These guys have been with the program from the beginning. And one of the things that they've observed is that men of color, particularly, whether they're Black, Hispanic, Indian, um, we have some different challenges, and life is not always as fair to us as other races, just being honest. And I'm not saying anything that's inappropriate here, it's just what it is. And I think oftentimes with that particular group of young men, especially, we're taught to be tougher. Look, you gotta, be more masculine. You got, it's a really pressuring life at times where some of these young men are taking on extra jobs because they come from households where the income is not great. So there's just a different level of life that not everybody is not, not all men of color go through that, just like not all men of non-color are having a perfect way of going it. But I think these men have identified that we're here to help you in every possible way, whether it's jobs, whether it's finding money. And this group comes together around those vulnerabilities, around those areas that they need to work through. And it's led by men of color, so they have a certain way to connect with them that I think others just are not able to connect with them on.
That's that's really interesting.
Yeah,
Like this idea that you have to present as being very hard, right? And
yeah,
either you're not able to achieve that hard presentation, you feel adequate, and maybe you retreat to just staying behind a computer.
Mm,
Or on the other hand, you succeed in presenting as hard, which could be a real barrier to your relationship. So either way, it's potentially a losing game to chase being hard.
that's a profound statement, Mickey. And I applaud this younger generation. They're a little more comfortable with, saying who they are, being who they are, and the world supports it better than my generation. I'll be honest with you, media was not supportive of a man talking about going to get therapy, for example, or that he was not into sports or womanizing or something along those lines. And, we've come a long way, but there are households that are still locked in that this young man grew up this way in this neighborhood and this is how he's got to be. And you're giving him a horrible disservice because there are other skill sets or gifts that he may have to share with the world, but he's shy or scared to share those things because he doesn't want the dad or the uncle or even the mom to say, "Oh, you're not manly enough." These are realities for a lot of people, even still today.
Yeah. Now, you only work with this male achievement program a little bit these days, but you have a new program that you're working with, also focused on youth, the Create Your Future Self program. Tell us about that.
Yes, truly a passion of mine, and you see the smile jump on my face. Create Your Future Self Youth Program. I started it as a program for Dallas Independent School District right before the pandemic happened. So I got awarded this RFP, which is a request for proposal. They wanted me to come in and mentor young men and women at that time. And as soon as I got the award, we found out about this thing called a pandemic. And so all the students would not be in school as we predicted. So do something else. So that summer, I came across another opportunity to do it as a Create Your Future Self summer youth program. So I put together a week-long program. I brought in other mentors, and we taught kids about careers, financial literacy, speaking, entrepreneurship. It was such a great thing because many of us online at that time. This is a program we launched online that summer of 2020, and we were just promoting it locally in Dallas. We had kids from Africa, Canada, the United States. We had kids from 7 or 8 different states. So it was a really cool experience. So now I've got this framework of how to do this program. And so I ended up pitching it back to Dallas when they got back in school, as well as Carrollton Farmers Branch Independent School District. So now I'm a consultant with Carrollton Farmers Branch Independent School District. I get the opportunity to present this program as a weekly program at 2 different schools within the district. So, and we are working with males as well. I kind of have an affinity to help these young men to get to the next level of their lives. And so with our 8th graders, if it's a middle school program, we call that one Pathfinders because we want them to create their own pathway as they go into high school. The high school program is just the standard Create Your Future Self youth program. And it's exactly what we said it is. We want to teach you how to create your own future by the behaviors that you take on, the information that you take in, and how your behavior impacts the world around you as well. So I'm really excited about the program. We've mentored over 5,000 kids over the last 5 years through this program.
Wow,
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
that's amazing. So in its current iteration and how it works, it's now in person, not online.
It is on in person. We do stream some of the programs, like for the summer youth program, we'll open it up where people can zoom in, but it is geared to be an in-person program where we can do a lot of activities and engage in games and get just kids to get to meet each other. Part of it is the community that they build around getting to know each other, and they didn't even know each other before. So, really great program.
And this happens during the summer or after school or during the school day. How does that work?
We do a summer program every year, which is a 1 week long program. Usually in July, we'll facilitate that program at a youth program in partnership with a youth center or a youth development center. Now we do the in-school program as a contracted deal with the school district. So they'll hire us in and we come in and bring our own curriculum, our own facilitators and mentors, and we do that program for 1 hour every week at 2 different schools through the entire school year.
Now, is this only available to Carrollton students, or is it available to students from other areas?
We have been hired from Kennesaw State University in Atlanta, Georgia. We've been hired to do schools down in San Antonio. We go to Paul Quinn College, which is a historically Black university. We've opened it up for more than just the schools here locally.
But primarily, you work with the schools to deliver this. So if I'm a parent and my school's not participating in your youth program, there's I can't like call you up and send my kid to your summer program.
The summer program is open to anybody. And
Okay.
so we do market it and promote it online. We send it out. So again, they can visit the website, bethevictor.us. We have a page dedicated to Create Your Future Self and Pathfinders. For the school districts, though, we're only registered in a handful of school districts. So when we are registered in that school district, the school helps us promote it out to the parents and guardians. So if they want to get their students in there, they can. But typically, it's the school themselves, the principals and their counselors that decide which students would benefit most from being in the program.
Yeah. And what is it that you tell these kids? Like what you talk about, like the Pathfinder program
Mhm.
and having them create their own path. Are they interested in it? Are they motivated? Do you have to sell them the idea of creating their own path? Like what is your message to these children?
It starts with the connection. Just sharing my own story. I was a young dad. Many of them are not dads necessarily, but they know other young fathers, so they can relate. Or their father might be a young dad who's now 35 and he's got a 15 or 20-year-old almost. But I think the first part is just showing them how much I care and sharing my own challenges. And I've had mentors in my life throughout my life, even to today. And sharing with them that it's okay to have people that can help you through life. So that's the
Mm,
first piece of it. When we're doing the money stuff, we do games. We do like a Jeopardy game to help them kind of have fun where they can win little gift cards or things like that. I also bring in other mentors so they hear different voices. So it's not just same old Mr. Victor for 26 weeks that they got to listen to. It is me and others that have a story to tell, but also that come from unique industries, and introduces them to different stuff. So to answer your question, it's about connecting and then finding out where we think we can make the most impact and then delivering that content in a way that makes them feel engaged. And you'll be surprised these young folks want to learn. Oftentimes they have this aura that they got to be cool, but once they get to see that you're a real person and that you really want their best, then they open right up. And I always tell my team and the other mentors, our biggest success, our unique selling point is we just keep showing up. And many times the consistency is more important than anything we could share in any individual session.
very cool. So it's like we talked about before with the storytelling. Um, you're getting buy-in from your audience, the kids, through
Hmm.
storytelling,
Hmm.
and the Jeopardy games and stuff is kind of like a hook to just kind of draw them in, get them excited.
Yeah.
Now, when they're done with your program, like what would you say is the value proposition? What do they walk away with for having done your programs?
So these students come away with purpose. They have now a better understanding of how they fit into this whole thing that we live in called Earth, the world. They have a better sense of how they can contribute in their classroom, in their community, at their homes. And they exude these things. They're acting a little bit more mature. They now have goals. They understand the power of time and time management. We give them a structure around setting goals and doing things, understanding how to schedule their day out. Like these are things that a lot of grown-ups haven't managed successfully. And
Sure.
we got 14, 15, 16-year olds making their best attempt at being better in these areas. And the fact that they're working towards it is enough in many cases to improve their behaviors. Now they're excited about showing up to school because they got something extra that's not just a class that they can, we partner with the schools. We're not, averse to what the teachers are doing. We're in partnership with them. So now you got kids giving better attendance. The schools love that. And then, of course, hopefully with better behavior and better attendance, you get better grades out of that, which are the three critical areas that the schools would like to see improved in these students. So I like to say that them just being part of this program, we can help them improve in their behavior, their attendance, and in their grades.
And you talked about purpose, and that caught my attention. Is that can be so powerful. It's just a simple little word,
Yes.
purpose, but can have such an incredible impact on someone. I know when I was in high school, I had no purpose. I never thought about the idea
Yeah.
of having purpose,
Hmm.
and it showed up in the way I behaved and in my grades.
Yeah.
They left a lot to be desired,
Yes.
as I was just going around without any purpose to these things I was doing.
Hmm.
And if you can get these young people's attention and get them to want to have a purpose and try it out, even if they later change it, they just start having a purpose and putting goals to that purpose, I can imagine that would change everything for them.
It's quite empowering, Mickey, because it makes the student feel like I have a voice. Like I actually have a role in this greater scheme of things, even in the schools. And they're not talked down to. We talk with them.
Yeah.
And that's just like you said, it's a slight difference, but that purpose piece is critical, and helping them to identify that or to understand when it's changing. That's just a big difference. And we can get better kids and a better world if we can all just help kids to find their purpose.
Wow. Well, I am truly inspired by the work you've been doing with young people. It's incredible. And for our listeners, do you have one last call to action for them?
Yes, if they're interested in having a mentor for their students, and they are in the Dallas area, they can visit the BeTheVictor.us site. We have a page for Create Your Future Self Youth Program. It's actually under the Youth Programs tab. And so they can learn more about that. They can follow us to learn about our summer program there. And again, we take kids from all over the world in that program because it is streamed, so they can see it online. But we're very excited about this. We do feel like we're making a difference in the world with this program.
Very cool. Well, thank you so much for joining us,
Thank you, Mickey.
Victor. It's been truly incredible having these conversations with you. And I wish you luck in all your efforts.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you having me.
Yeah. Thank you. And thank you, listeners, for checking in with us and listening to my conversation with Victor. It's been great, and we will see you next time on D50 After Dark.